Hey everyone, we got a special vid today looking at a future deck. Andrew's a bit of an expert on Genku Turtle as well as just Jesmon variants in general. And here he's got his BT23 Jesmon build that he's been testing.
We've got some proxies up in the chat here just so we can give it a crack. By no means finished, but we seem to be starting to get a rough idea of how I want to play the deck. I think there are some interesting different ways people can put this together. But happy to go over what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So we've just got the proxy of the official token here whilst we wait for the real one. But for eggs, look, we're just doing 4 Koro. It's probably the most consistent draw. Like I did consider the BT8 Gurumon. The problem with that is most of the level 4s I run are actually 5000 DP, not 6. So I thought that requiring it to be 5 or higher to get a swing in for a draw is just a little too difficult. So might as well just go for the one that just says, as long as you get a chip in, you get a draw.
Draw card.
Yeah, look, Jesmon has yet to ever get seems to be yet to get an official Egg of any sort, so this is the next best thing. So for F4, so most exciting of course is our brand new BT23 Huckmon. I think this is a staple for it very easily. So on play, add either a Sister or a Huck, and then you get to also add a Roll Knight card. Now keep in mind, card is a very specific thing there, so having Sistermon in the name means you can grab the new option, as well as, you know, obviously your Royal Knights can grab your Gankus, which is unlike the old Huck. You can actually add Ganku, you can add anything with Roll Knight. You could technically even run this in Roll Knights if you wanted to. Probably not the best in that build. And then the Inheritable, of course, which is nice to finally have a searcher with a good Inheritable whenever you play a white Digimon, so that's going to cover both the token and the sisters, gain a memory. So really, really, really good Huck. I love that it's perfectly fine if you want to have this on your egg, and it's perfectly fine if you want to play it. It's good either way. So having that versatility is extremely good. Next we've got BT13. Now a lot of the BT13 engine really comes alive with this new support. It was a bit mid when we got it, but now it seems to be improving quite a lot. So this is the one you absolutely want the most in your breeding area. You've got a similar Inheritable of gaining a memory when a Sistermon's played. There are some interesting combos if you're in an already pretty good position where you can hard play this one and start triggering a chain where it evolves for free or heavily reduced. So if it sees a sister get played, it can go into BaoHuck for free. That comes up from time to time. Normally you're just using it for the Inheritable and building a relatively safe stack at the back. However, again, if you have a stack that survives and you're full comboing off, you're summoning sisters left, right, and center, you can sequence it in a way where the first son summons a sister, go into BaoHuck for free, cool, second sister summon, that BaoHuck, if it's BT13, will then go into SaviorHuck for 1, and so on and so forth. Do some really cool memory efficient plays. But all in all, yeah, still very, very good card. So you've got 8 Hucks that basically have the same Inheritable, so it's very easy now to start with a very optimal egg rookie, which I really like. The last red level 3, I've got 2 of the old BT6 Huck. Now you look at top 5, add 2 Sisters, Jesses or Huckmons, which is quite nice. It does miss Ganku. This build, however, runs very little in the way of Ganku, so I feel good having this back in the deck as another searcher. Yes, it doesn't have an Inheritable, so it feels a little bit bad to go on the stack, but hey, it's better than nothing if you fully miss. So yeah, card's really good for loading up the Sisters or whatever pieces you're missing. So continuing with level 3, but moving to Sisters, I've opted to go with 4 of the structure deck ST12 Blunks. So this is ditch 1 and draw 2, doesn't matter what you ditch. And then while you have something from the archetype on the field, it's decoy red and black. Decoy is always good, but more than anything, just drawing cards is really good. Now, because of the new Jesmon, which we'll get to a little bit later, accessing Sistermons from the trash is easier than ever. So anytime you have other Sistermons in hand, you can just always ditch a Sistermon. It's basically just a free draw 2 because you have just as much access to that Sistermon in the bin as you did pretty much in your hand. So I think this is good. The new Sistermon BT23, look, I might be proved wrong in the future, but at the moment I just can't seem to fathom it being any good. I've seen a lot of people say it's really, really strong, but evolving for 1 less when it's suspended doesn't really solve problems this deck has.
Yeah.
For example, like the end of turn effect with the BT20 SaviorHuck says suspend something and then evolve into Jesmon. From there you could say, oh, but you could trigger that and go into GX or something like that. That doesn't really help you, especially like it's okay, but you're still passing a huge amount of memory and not necessarily finishing the game. And the add security to add your top security and recover 1 is just, it's a bit odd. It's not really in Jesmon's flavor. There's small scenarios where it's 0 security where it does just recover 1, but I thought it's just not that good. So I think draw consistency is good. and Decoy is good, so I don't see any reason not to run this Blunk. To round that up, we're running 2 of the Awaken from BT7, still the only Blunk Awaken that we have so far.
So different name sisters are more important now, right?
Yes. So our new Jesmon, we'll get to that in a little later, but the new Jesmon, when he summons sisters and tokens, he can summon any of them, but it has to have a different name. Now, it says specifically not in their name, they just have to have a different name. And Sistermon Blunk Awakened, as far as I'm aware, is different to Sistermon Blunk. It's not like Ace, where Ace is part of the type, it is part of the name.
Yep.
So you want to have both Awakens available so that you have 4 types of sisters plus the tokens you can go into. Now, apart from that, this was always a good card. But now that we can freely trash it from hand and then access it as well, it can tuck, and this is another reason why we run 4, because it can tuck one of these under it on play to recover 1. Also, if it gets deleted, you get to add anything from the archetype back to hand except a Sistermon Blunk Awakened. So it's recovery, which can buy you a little bit of time, hopefully put a little bit of a security bomb potentially in there, which there are a few kind of security bombs in this deck. And it just, again, gives you just a name. So worst case scenario is you're just summoning it by itself off of the effect, which, so again, don't worry about the 5 cost, it's just going to be for 0. And then you can pretty freely use that with Alliance, because you don't mind this being a target to be destroyed, because again, you're just going to add back whatever piece you're missing from your trash. So it's almost purple in a way, so you get access to all the consistency pieces.
Purple and yellow, a bit of recovery.
Yeah. So we'll move on to our 4s, but we might as well bridge into our other sisters. So currently what we're trying out is, 3 of the new Ciel. I think this is possibly the best card to come. I don't know, there's so many good cards from this new one. Insane, absolutely insane. So natural blocker, always nice. The on-play is a bit mid, pop something for cost or lower.
Gets rid of a floodgate though.
It can get rid of a floodgate, yes. So it's certainly not terrible, but it's not too bad. But the real reason is, of course, once per turn, all turns have suspended blocker, by the way. Do Digivolve one of your opponent's things, but against things like, for example, Huckmon, where they force a suspend, you're like, cool, alright, do Digivolve your stack now.
It's pretty silly.
And then, yeah, so really, really cool. And then Alliance, of course, so there's heaps of ways to suspend this. Also the BT20 SaviorHuck to evolve, like there's heaps of different ways. To pair that, we've got the BT20 2 copies of the Ciel Awaken. So again, we've got the extra names. You really want to trash this so that it can evolve for free on top of this Ciel. Like, the synergy here is unreal. So first of all, on player when Digivolve, you stun something, you say it can't suspend till the end of the next turn. That might buy you a turn, it might stun one of their boss monsters or whatever it might be. Second is that, so after it sees something plays, it can summon from trash. So you can go summon this, pop something. If you're in mid-attack, you can Alliance and de-Digivolve, and then this will be pending. Or if you're not mid-attack, then you can just go, okay, cool. This sees this, draw a card, stun something, fantastic. End of turn, its last effect, end of all turns. As long as it hasn't already gone past the end of turn trigger, you'll see it. It gets to recover itself as top security. Then you're back to this Ciel, which then again is threatening the de-Digivolve and has the blocker, right?
Yeah.
So you get the best of both worlds. You get all the stuns and recovery and everything from the Awaken, and then you've got recovery as well, and back to this. Even better, because it's on play as well too, if you quote-unquote brick with these, you still can stun something by just playing it for free. So it's rarely ever an issue to draw this, and again, it's just such an obvious discard for the Blunk. So yeah, all your sisters, perfectly fine to get them in the bin as quick as you can for the draws, because again, they're just super accessible. So that gives us our 4 names in total, so our Awakens and our normal, so that we can sequence things in a way where we make sure we keep getting value out of Jesmon. So what we've got for our BaoHuck, so we've got 4 BT13, same inheritable as the BT13 SaviorHuck. If it sees a Sistermon get played, gain a memory, that's pretty cool. This effect sometimes comes up, so if it as the top card sees a sister get played, you get to go into a SaviorHuck for reduced by 2, which is at this stage always going to be 1 cost. However, if you've already used, say for example, a Master Disciples for the turn, then it'll be 0 cost, because Master just sees the next summon opposed to training, which makes you do it then and there. So again, mainly for the inheritable, like you're just building up a stack that when the sisters come out, you gain a lot of memory, so that's pretty cool. And then we've got 3 BT20 BaoHuck. Now, of course, your ratio is going to be a bit odd because you've got to make room for sisters in these kind of decks. I did originally have this at 4 and 4. I find in this build, this is the worst one. Like summoning from the hand is okay. Like summoning a Blunk for 1 and ditching draw 2 is cool to like see your pieces. And then hopefully you found pieces by then. Because the inheritable is significantly worse, just the 1k, that's okay. This is obviously better in the Goku Turtle builds and things like that.
Yeah.
It's not a linchpin. I'd rather the memory and I'd rather the possibility of comboing off with the BT13s in this build. But if I needed, or if I had the space, I'd probably just run the 4th one. That's fine, better than not seeing one. But it's certainly still better than all of our previous BaoHucks, so that's fine. But 13 really shines in this build.
Hell yeah.
So moving on to our 5s, it's just a 3-3 ratio. But we've got 3 of our BT20. So this is the one that pops a 5k or lower on player when digivolving, and this is really quite significant with new combos actually. And then end of turn, it allows you to suspend any one of your other Digimon. Usually it's a Sistermon, but it could be anything. To then go into Jesmon for free, which is really cool with the new one, but it's also cool with any Jesmon really. And then Inheritable Alliance is really cool for some very early aggressive swings. I do prefer the other SaviorHuck most of the time, however there are just times where this is just required to either removal or in certain cases if you hard play this, I'll show maybe a little combo later on, but now that the new Jesmon has Rush and summon something and attacks, it's just, you could be on 2, put them to 5, pop something. As long as you have something else to suspend, you go, okay, suspend new Jesmon summons a token, swing, summon a Sistermon, like it's, you could even argue that playing it for 7 to get a level 6 and 2 bodies is not even a terrible
not
cost.
bad at all. You just need that extra body to suspend.
Yeah. So this became way less bricky with this build. I still just couldn't fathom more than 6 5s at the moment. I might change my mind on it, but I was previously running 4 at this one, but I'm back. I had to make a little bit of space, so I went down to 3. So this I think got the biggest glow up. This has always been a pretty mid SaviorHuck, but it got the biggest glow up with this set. So Inheritable is just summon a sister from trash or hand, which is great. This is kind of what we're touching on when we say that they're just super accessible from trash. But the big one is in combination with the new option, is that if this sees a sister get played, it also again gets to evolve for 2 less. So you get to go into the new Jesmon for 1, because it's 3 on top of a SaviorHuck. And then it'll summon, and it'll swing, and then this Inheritable let you play something, and it'll summon a token, and it'll summon something else. Like it just kind of goes off. It always used to be hard because you usually have to hard play a sister, and then at that point you might as well play 3 to go into a Jesmon, otherwise you're just playing 3 to play a Sistermon. Like it didn't really make sense. But now, we'll get into it shortly, but now that you've got an option with the delay that says Evo into this, trash this, summon a sister, trigger this, see, go into 1, like it's way better all of a sudden. So yeah, very, very much most improved, really, really good SaviorHuck now, prior to this new support. Bit trash, but yeah, now I'm very, very happy with it. Which brings us to the stars of the show. So I'll go to the one-offs first. So we're running one of the new Goku. It's a bit mid. Like it's kind of cool that it summons a token. It's cool that it stacks the deck. Like in a grindy game, you can treat it a little bit like a scramble delay effect. It can pop something kind of cool. It falls off because it's not a blocker. It has, after it hits the field, it has 0 effects. It'll pop something when it comes into play. That's kind of cool. But it has 0 effects. It doesn't keep summoning tokens. It doesn't have blocker. It doesn't have an inheritable. Doesn't do anything else. So I hazard a guess that I might even just drop this entirely at some point. I'm going to keep trying it at 1. Like I think there is some cool niche interactions. It's the reduced cost to play by stacking 3 things, so it reduces it by 5, so you play it for 6, which is still pretty cool. And as greedy as it sounds, it's probably still just not cheap enough to make sense. Like there's kind of a cool, if you could do it so that I could easily keep turn to then make a GX Ace or something with a DNA, like I could think of more value, but it just doesn't seem to quite do enough for me. If it had natural blocker, I would probably be more inclined to be impressed with it. So it's okay. Now I don't run any of the BT20 Goku stuff in this build. They're just 2 decks doing 2 very different things.
Yeah, different build.
Yeah. So if you're gonna run the other stuff, like just dedicate it to the turtle. In my opinion, don't mess around trying to do both. This is more overwhelm them with sisters and go in for quick checks and early cheat into Jesmons, opposed to unaffected block a turtle and overwhelm. That's
this reminds me of the OG Jesmon strategy.
Yeah. And then we've got one of the BT20 Jesmon. This is simply because you can't run more of the BT23 one. This is the next best thing.
The backup.
popping a token every time something is played on my turn, like once per turn, is pretty cool. Like pop an 8KLO every time you play something. It's not just when you summon the token. That's pretty cool. Summoning the token's cool, obviously. And being able to attack after it for like a pseudo blitz is pretty cool. So again, up until this new Jesmon, this was the next best one. I think a 1-1 ratio is fine. Could drop this for a second one of this. Might just drop this and keep this at 1. Like it's fine. I just wish I could run more of the next one. So
show us the star of the show.
The star of the show. So this is the proxy one. I kind of proxied the old art, but this one doesn't have sample on it, so it's a little bit easier to see. It's still a little bit out of focus compared to what the real card will be. But this one is obviously insane. So,
this is crazy.
So it goes either for it's a 3-cost for either over SaviorHuck or a level 5 with CS. In this case, it's always going to be SaviorHuck. So for 3-cost, Jesmon Evo in general has been something I've been hoping for a while. Obviously, BT20 did it. The worst part of the structure deck one was that it was 4 costs instead of 3. So it's just harder to keep turn. This one you can very comfortably keep turn, and if you can't, that's also fine because it's going to do a whole heap of things anyway. So first of all, the coolest thing is that similar to the BT21, it's self-reliant when it comes to, if you haven't seen a Sistermon at all, at least you can still summon a token. So you can summon that token, I'll pop it over there, and still resolve all effects. It's seen something get played, so it gets to swing. So its effect is, when attacking, when digivolving, either summon a token or a Sistermon, but what you summon can't have the same name of what you've already got on the field.
So no same tokens, no same systems. Right?
Exactly. So we've got, in this build in total, we've got 4 sister targets. That's the maximum you can have, plus the token. So there's 5 possible things that you can only ever summon what you don't already have on the field. You can sequence it in a way that you say, okay, summon something of a name with Jesmon first, then the inheritable summon the same thing, because it doesn't care about the names.
Yep.
But the Jesmon effect does. Now this thing has Natural Alliance and Natural Rush, which is incredibly good. And then whenever it sees someone get played, which it will always self-fulfill itself, it then just gets to swing, and you can always just alliance with that. The token's a perfect alliance target because it has reboot, and then decoy for later and blocker. So not only can you get in 2 checks 18, it'll reboot, it's there to block an attack that comes through, or if you try and pop by effect, it can sacrifice itself. Now don't get me wrong, yeah, a lot of top decks will find a way to efficiently remove this first and then kill your stack. That's probably going to happen, but they don't always have the answer, right?
Yeah.
And then possibly the coolest possible thing, as I'm sure many are aware by now, is this Jesmon says if you have a 10k or higher, you can warp from a Huckmon.
That's insane.
Yeah. And keep in mind it says warp for 5, which is not true most of the time, because you're going to warp for 5.
Warp for 3.
Oh
no, 5?
No, it is 5.
Oh, sorry, it is 5.
It is 5, but you're always going to summon a token or a sister. Both of these inheritables say it's or a white card. Sorry, if this one specifically needs a sister, this is just a white card. So if either of them says sister, or if this one sees a token as well, it'll always gain a memory. So that 5 is really a 4.
That's true.
Which is pretty cool. If you've used a Master Disciple or a Scramble to initiate it, you also get to reduce it further. So because it's not an effect, it's just a condition, you can scramble.
Oh, you can scramble into it.
You can scramble into it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be very different if it was a hand effect that said
can
like
you do
target.
the new training into it? I know it's spoiling a card, but the white one?
Oh no, it doesn't do that. Yeah, it's called training, ironically, but it doesn't work like a training.
Okay, it doesn't work like a training. Okay, we'll get to that later.
So you can warp, as long as your opponent has something 10k or lower, you can warp onto one of your Huckmons, do that, still so it's got rush, so it can still swing the turn you play it. Yeah,
insane.
Incredibly good. Just doesn't have an inheritable, so which is perfectly fine. Yeah. And that's why Jesmon GX is a little bit less good in this.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is the last Digimon. I'm currently running 1 GX. I started with 2, I've dropped to 1. I think I'm just going to drop it entirely. I think I probably actually want an Omnimon X in there instead. Omnimon X.
Just kill your opponent.
Yeah, it's also a Royal Knight, so it's searchable by a lot of the cards.
True.
Not every card, but quite a few of them search it. So the from Master Disciple and the new Huckmon search it. The old Huckmon doesn't. But GX is okay. Like the problem with this one is all the level 6s that you can slot under it. Like none of them have inheritables. It's not doing myself a whole heap of favors by having it. And because I don't have the Gunku X stack, getting to the 4 Royal Knights under it is a lot more difficult. So as good as this card is, it's a lot less value in this deck.
Yeah.
And
better
also
in the other builds.
Also, just with decks like Galmon running around, like being able to pop something the same DPL lower at 16 is surprisingly just not that scary. It's either,
not anymore, yeah.
Either your opponent's going to have a lot of resilience through protection effects, or they're just going to be bigger than 16, in which case this just says, can I donate you 5 memory? So I'm probably going to drop this for OmniX. I think that's probably how we'll move forward. OmniX, there's definitely, sometimes you just get the game, but there's plenty of times where you will get them to 0. And as we know, OmniX is awesome for game. And if not, it's obviously an amazing removal. So I would say try it if you like. The coolest thing about this, obviously, is just that bit more searchable in this deck, and it is thematic. But yeah, I would say OmniX will likely be the real end choice in that.
Yeah, very fair.
So now moving on to our last few things, so our options. So we've got 4 from Master Disciple. Apologies, my 4th copy is somewhere at home in my pile of rubbish. I definitely have 4. I've got 6 in fact, because I had the structure decks, but who knows where they've gone. This card's always been amazing. So it's basically Analog Boy in the sense of you look at the top 3, you add 1, you mill the rest, as long as they're like Sistermon or Royal Knight. Now that does include card, so it can search itself because it's Royal Knight trait.
Yep.
And for example, you can also add the new Sistermon option because it has Sistermon in its name, and it says add a card with Sistermon or Huckmon in its name. That probably is not the correct choice to add most of the time anyway, but in a weird niche scenario, it could be correct.
Yeah, it's cool that you can.
Yeah. Now it's got a delay that you can stack that just says, it doesn't force you to Evo right now, it just says the next time you Evo this turn, reduce the cost by 1. So you can trash 3 to reduce it by 3 if need be, or 2 or 1, or just use 1 at a time. That's pretty cool. But it's a hyper consistency card. You basically get to add 3 cards because half the time you want certain things in bin, or you just say, I'd rather just not draw this anyway. And anytime you see Sisters in this, it's just even better because you're going to
put them in the bin.
Yeah, exactly. Choose the other ones, put them in the bin. If you see 2 Sisters and SaviorHuck, you've basically added 3 cards. You've added this to hand, you've got access to those 2 Sisters. Way worse if they go to the bottom of the deck. Way, way worse. So, amazing staple card. It's always been good in this deck. It's just, it doesn't always have, in the Gunku Turbo deck, it doesn't quite have as much of a home, but in this build, it certainly does. Which leads us to our last new card.
Another insane 2-drop option.
Yeah. So, Sistermon Training Gym. So, having Sistermon in the name, as I mentioned, makes it very, very, very good. Sorry, one last point on Master Disciple. If it's hidden security, it does its full effect and puts it into the main. Unlike most things where they just say add it to the battle area, it does the full effect and then adds it to the battle area.
Kind of insane.
Yeah. So new Sistermon card. So while you have a Huckmon on the field, which includes in your breeding area, remember that, so it doesn't say in the battle area, it says in the field, so as long as you got a Huckmon or something with Huckmon or Jesmon its name, you get to use it. The main effect is obviously pretty mid, just draw 1. That's kind of cool, nothing special. But the delay effect is what we're really here for, so if it sees something evolve into Huckmon or Jesmon, delay just gets to summon a sister from hand or trash, doesn't matter where, and then that's going to combo with things like your SaviorHuck and other things like that, where they're going to gain memory back, they're going to cause things to attack. It starts a lot of chain reactions, so worst case scenario to draw 1, and then you can just save up for your explosive turns later. You can also sequence things in a way with your Jesmon swings in a bit more complicated way, where you've already summoned a lot of your Sistermons, then you, while these are pending because they've seen an evolution, you can still then later trash them for some of the ones that have the same name, because again, similar to your other effects, this isn't restricted by the names, only the Jesmon is. So you can summon another 2 blanks of the same name if you really wanted to. So that also, when it's hit in security, probably the most insane thing. So it hits in security, summons a sister from trash or hand, and then just chucks itself in the field. So you've turbocharged your tempo basically. So it really is a bomb. Like, it won't always deal with what's on the field, but there are plenty of times where it will, right? So if this summons a sister, boom, stun the most oppressive stack.
Yep.
Blocker that's going to de-digivolve the next swing.
And deletes a 4 or lower on play.
Yeah, 4 cost or lower. Yep.
Yep.
Recover 1 as long as you can attach Blunk.
Yep.
Probably the worst one, but it might be like, oh, I'm kind of like early game, you've hit it, I don't have my combo yet. Cool, ditch 1, draw 2.
Consistency.
So summoning any of those for free is great. Then, okay, your opponent removes them. Fantastic. Okay, I'm going to move up and do my combo, and I've got one in the bin to come out for free when I combo off anyway. So I think this card's insane. I've seen some people say it's okay. Like, I think this is insane. I think
it's a 4.
Yeah, the new blank I think is trash. This is the one that I think is possibly the most insane. This is, don't get me wrong, it's all quite good, but I think this is what puts it over the top as a viable deck, is now that I can summon, like, have sisters ready to go for free that the deck just didn't really have too many ways to do until you're at the top end, and a reliable way to trigger SaviorHuck. So the best thing you can do is move up this kind of stack with this on the field. And then you go, even if you're like, let's just say you're at 1 memory, right? And sorry, I'm jumping into a combo a bit earlier, but we'll do this, you put them to 2, okay, this is seeing you evolve into 1, cool, go into this, ditch 1, draw 1, cool, gain 2 memory, you're back to 0, this sees that a sister has been played, okay, great, get to go into Jesmon for reduced cost of 1, okay, cool, now your opponent's at 1, summon a token, it's seen something get played, so now we get to swing, summon a sister, we'll summon that, we'll attach that, we'll recover 1, now this effect, we'll summon this from bin is going to do this, stun this, alliance there, or you could do it in another way, which is
alliance with the
summon
Digimon,
this,
yep.
yeah, so we're still in the when attacking phase, so we'll resolve the on play, then have a pending alliance, de-digivolve, this is still waiting because it's been triggered but doesn't have to go just yet, then go into this, then end of a turn, like recover this. This is suspended in this scenario, but like either way, it kind of can be very explosive out of nowhere. So
crazy wide board.
Moving up the 4 with the option ready to go is very, very, very dangerous. And having the blunts helps you certainly make sure the draw power and what's in the bin and that you've got your pieces much quicker. So yeah, I think this is possibly the best part.
Yeah.
And then our very last card, we're just running 1 red scramble.
Crazy because you can warp, crazy because you can have rush.
Yeah, exactly. Now, like in some respects, the reason I don't run more currently for a few reasons. Like one is the reduction in Evo, like Master Disciple already kind of covers that. And Master Disciple is a delay so that I can reduce by 2 without, or let's just say reduce by 3 of them without spending any memory first. So it's kind of a bit more efficient. However, having the ability to, like, sometimes if your opponent's hit 2 Jesmons and you secure and you're like, oh, well, that's where they all were. At least at their next turn, if they've got something, you can scramble and put that to the top of your deck and suddenly you've got access to it, right?
True.
Sometimes it's just nice going from the 4 to the 3 with scramble and then you've got it set up and you've got it at a discount along the way. It's certainly not essential and it's not a consistency card, so I can't fathom it at, I'd maybe run it at 2, but 1 seems fine. When it's hit in security, it's pretty cool because it can summon any of your Huckmons back. But all your Sistermons are too big, so the only valid targets are the Huckmons.
It has to play a red as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too as well, sorry, you're right. But summoning this guy back to search top 5 is pretty cool. Summoning this back to search top 3s back is pretty cool. And summoning that back obviously doesn't do anything when it's summoned, but again, if your opponent's got a big dude, then great. We warp next turn and we're going to gain a memory back when we summon the sister, like, you know, it's very cool.
Pretty good.
I think the deck is teeming with potential. There's certainly plenty of things that may change in the future. This is certainly not a perfect or fully solved build, but I think the potential is massive. As a huge Jesmon enjoyer myself, I am so excited to be able to play what I like and have not already given up on any chance of doing well with it, which is a nice thing. So is it going to be the best deck in the room?
Yes.
I hope so, but probably not. But I genuinely think it has what it makes to be a tier 1 deck. It might be towards the bottom of tier 1, but I think it's got some really cool stuff. Obviously the main thing is it needs to actually pay for some setup compared to say BaoHuckmon, which for example, which as you build up, it just pays for itself and deletes your board along the way. And I don't want to sit here and complain too much, but that's often what makes the top tier deck is it just removes and gains memory as it goes up. This you got to actually pay a little bit of memory into the setup first. But once you pay off, it certainly moves a lot quicker than it used to, and the payoff seems to be a lot better than it used to. So I am super, super excited, and we'll just see. I'm sure you'll see some profiles of my later ones once we have BT23 in full swing, which I think is time recording 3 weeks away.
Something like that.
3 or 4 weeks away, yeah. So really looking forward to it, and yeah, we'll talk about it more soon.
All right, sweet. Comment your favorite new Jesmon card, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Peace.